Two experts call the investigation we're about to show you payroll fraud, and the alleged fraud is being done by a state senator.
Being in the legislature is a part-time job, and while the legislature is in session, most lawmakers have to make some sacrifices with their non-legislative or full-time job.
Yeah, but as we show you in our new investigation, one lawmaker is collecting 2 paychecks for every 1 day worked in the legislature, and you're the one paying them twice. Documented proof a state senator may be breaking the law.
It's infuriating.
We gathered pictures, video, documents covering 122 days.
These are public funds, Lee.
Each one of those days, experts say this longtime lawmaker pocketed public money he didn't deserve.
Shame on him.
Wesley Bishop serves New Orleans East in his part-time job as state senator. His salary, $32,000 a year. Bishop works full-time at Southern University of New Orleans, or SUNO, a taxpayer-funded college. He's vice chancellor of academic affairs. His salary there, $85,000. The jobs are separate, so when Bishop fulfills his legislative duties, he must take time off from his other job at SUNO.
This is not an insignificant thing.
Our investigation found for 79 days this year, Bishop called in sick at SUNO.
That's better than a third of the year.
That's a problem because Bishop wasn't sick. We have that documented proof. All 79 days when he called in sick, he spent the day at the state capitol in his part-time job as state senator.
This is theft. This is misappropriation of funds, receiving money under false pretenses when you say, I need this money because I'm homesick and I can't work, and under my contract and under the regulations I'm entitled to take a certain amount of sick leave. Fine. Then you stay home. You don't then go out to other functions and do the job. That's not what sick leave is.
Bishop's SUNO timesheets clearly show day after day he marked sick leave, meaning SUNO paid him for being ill, even though he worked and earned his additional legislative salary. Here's his timesheet for April 3rd. Bishop used 8 hours of sick leave.
You've mentioned we want to make sure we get it right the first time. What's wrong about it right now?
But here's Bishop on April 3rd in a Judiciary Committee meeting in the state capitol. April 23rd, there's Bishop on Facebook posing for a picture in Baton Rouge, even though he called in sick at SUNO. Another example, May 15th. According to state Senate records, Bishop was present for the roll call at 9:50 that morning. He took part in 49 votes in the Senate chamber that day. And there he is present during the roll call at adjournment at 8:05 that night. Bishop at the state capitol for more than 10 hours, even though he marked May 15th as a sick day at SUNO. Looking at it another way, SUNO paid him money for being sick, while Bishop spent the day working and earning an additional taxpayer-funded paycheck in Baton Rouge.
Who's looking? Who's checking? Where's the accountability?
In fact, Bishop's sick time included 11 straight work weeks. All of April, all of May, Bishop doesn't appear to work 1 day at SUNO.
If you're calling in sick, but you're not sick,
It's fraud. There's no ands, ifs, or buts. You're telling people, you're making a representation, I'm sick, I can't come to work, I'm going to exercise my rights under the sick leave policy, I'm receiving pay, but I'm not sick. I'm over in the legislature.
SUNO policy and the state law that governs the university clearly spell out when an employee can take sick leave. It can only be used because of illness or injury, which prevents performance of his usual duties, or medical, dental, or optical consultation or treatment.
And when you are the vice chancellor of a university, should you be held to a lower standard than somebody who works in the janitorial department? Or at least the same standard, if not a higher standard, because you're a high executive official of the university.
In 2017, Bishop did the same thing, using 43 days of sick leave while attending the legislative session. Again, we have documented proof each one of those 43 sick days, Bishop was in Baton Rouge.
And it's being done by a state senator? I mean, how much worse does it get than that?
SUNO policy says the abuse of sick leave will result in disciplinary action.
What disciplinary action have they taken?
When you add it up, over the past 2 years, Bishop took 122 sick days for days he worked in Baton Rouge at the state capitol, Remember, SUNO is a public university, so this cost taxpayers nearly $40,000. Tulane University law professor Joel Friedman says essentially SUNO paid Bishop $40,000 he didn't earn.
You think Senator Bishop should return the money to SUNO?
At a minimum.
But there's more. Last year, Bishop took a handful of trips for his legislative job, attending conferences. In August of last year, Bishop filed this document with the State Ethics Board, detailing a Boston trip. Bishop even certified the conference is related to his public service, being a state lawmaker. The purpose of the trip, the National Conference of State Legislatures Annual Summit. While on the road, Bishop missed his full-time job at SUNO, but SUNO still paid him. Because for the 3 days Bishop attended the legislative conference, he took educational leave from SUNO.
So he should not have been paid for his SUNO job while he was at these legislative conferences.
No, he shouldn't be.
All totaled, we found 4 trips, totaling 10 days, where Bishop took education leave for a legislative conference. Experts say that means Bishop may have been paid an additional $1,600 he didn't earn. We emailed Bishop 2.5 weeks ago, telling him we've gathered some of his records from SUNO and wanting to request an on-camera interview. Bishop's public relations representative emailed us back and asked which records and what questions. We responded mostly timesheets and some travel records too, and added that we could definitely go into more detail after we get a date and time scheduled for an interview. We exchanged 2 more emails that day, and then for 6 days heard nothing. Late last week, they asked for more clarity on the story. We already had told them it involves how he balances his legislative and SUNO duties, and they were aware we requested several years of his SUNO timesheets. We told them we'd like to schedule an interview. He is an elected official. He should answer questions, and added we'd be happy to provide them with talking points and topics after we get an interview scheduled so Senator Bishop can be prepared. Almost a week had passed and we never received any response.
Hey, how are you doing? Is Senator Bishop in?
So we went to Bishop's SUNO office, hoping to find the senator.
Senator Bishop's going to come in here? Okay, thank you.
After 30 minutes of waiting in the hall, an employee brought us into a conference room. A short time later, Bishop opened the door.
How do you take time off at SUNO when you have to be in the legislature?
Usually I take leave,
What kind of leave?
annual leave, and I take earned leave.
Okay, you've taken sick leave too.
I've taken earned leave and I've taken sick leave.
Sick leave. How do you justify taking sick leave for your time in the legislature?
Let me do this. I don't know what you actually have there. You spoke to me, you asked me about it. I tell you I'd be happy to respond to it. If you give me the documentation, I can actually see it. You're asking me to recall something in a 30-second soundbite over the last 7 years I've actually been there. Give me a second to see exactly what it is, what dates that you're talking about, and I can answer your question.
Okay, it's pretty, you took sick leave for the legislature. How do you justify taking sick leave?
Because, Lee, I'm going to say this one more time. It may not be the answer that you want, but it's the answer that I have for you. I like to see the documentation that you actually have.
Let's go. Let's show it to you. Fine.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Is that mine app?
Huh?
Is that mine app?
Here, this is yours, and here's just for a week in May, sick leave. I mean, you put in for it. Why do you need to review it?
Lee, let me do this. I can't answer you in a 30-second soundbite.
Bishop reiterated he wanted to see the documentation, which included his timesheets, which records show Bishop himself submitted.
Why wouldn't you schedule an on-camera interview?
Why won't you give me the question so I can answer?
We'll give you the documents. I'm happy to
this mine?
No, that's not yours. I'll email the documents to you.
Lee, when you give that to me, I'll come back and meet with you. I'll be happy to meet with you.
You're going to do another on-camera interview
Thank
with
you.
us.
Give me the documentation.
You will do an on-camera interview with us tomorrow.
Give me the documentation. Once I've had a chance to see the documentation, I'll respond. Thank you, Lee.
Bishop responded to us by email, but still hasn't agreed to an on-camera interview. Bishop and the employee at SUNO who approved his timesheets say a 1981 Attorney General opinion allows Bishop to use sick time for the legislative session. Bishop told us that Attorney General opinion should address the concerns we shared with him. But legal experts say Bishop's justification is wrong.
There is no doubt in your mind Mr. Bishop's explanation of using sick leave is wrong.
Of course it's wrong. There's no question about it. And if you ask the Attorney General, I'm sure they would say the same.
100%.
Absolutely.
Tomorrow night on Fox 8 News at 10, we'll dig deep.
You are listening to The Proven Truth. You are listening to The Proven Truth with your brother and host, Anthony Brown, coming to you live from the studios of Radio Gumbo Creole here in the beautiful territory of New Orleans, Louisiana. Good afternoon, family. Good afternoon, friends. Good afternoon, my brothers and sisters. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, Louisiana. Good afternoon, Louisiana. Good afternoon, good afternoon. Again, you are listening to The Proven Truth with your brother and host, Anthony Brown. To participate in the show, to let your voice be heard, to tell us about your concept or what you think about this past election, this past midterm election, which is now in the history books. You can call us here if you choose to. That telephone number is 504-303-8922. Again, 504-303-8922. You can also listen to us via the web. You can also listen to us via the web by going to www.radiogumbocreole.net. That's www.radiogumbocreole.net. You can also listen to us from your device of choice by dialing us at 712-432-7883. Again, that number, 712-432-7883. We live stream this and every show, family. We live stream this and every show on the Facebook. You can check us out on the Facebook by going to Anthony Brown for Assessor 2017. You can check us out on the Facebook by going to Anthony Brown for Assessor 2017. To my Facebook family, friends, enemy, and critics, much love. Thank you guys for tuning in. And while you're on the Facebook, you can utilize this platform. It's your prerogative how you choose to utilize this platform. You know, you can leave a comment, pose a question, actually come on as a live guest, however you choose to utilize it. We don't edit, sanction, nor screen anybody. We want you to come on and let your voice be heard. We want you to speak what's on your mind. Look, whatever you want to say or do, you have the power and the will to do so. We also live stream this show on the Facebook. We also live stream this show on the Facebook. You can check us out on the Facebook by going to the Proven Truth. You can check us out on the Facebook by going to the Proven Truth. We also archive. We also store previous shows that we do on the Facebook, on our Facebook channel. That's one of the places where we choose to archive, we choose to store previous shows so that future generation, if the needs arise or it deems fit, can actually come and recognize that during this period of time, during our time here on Mother Earth, during this 21st century, we did not just sit back, fold our arms, and did nothing. We actually followed the examples of our ancestors, even though the time that we are presently in right now is nothing compared to the time that our ancestors find themselves in. And the sacrifice that we are claiming to make right now is nothing compared to what our ancestors did. However, we are establishing a platform. We are leaving documentation. We are leaving something for our future generation to look back on us and say, well, at least they did something. At least they didn't just sit back and watch all this corruption taking place. They didn't just sit back and endure this tyranny. They didn't just sit back and allow corrupted politicians. They didn't just sit back and watch the media with their biased approach to these politicians and didn't say nothing. So we are doing this. We are leaving documentation for future generation and for the historians to see that, yeah, at least, even with all odds against them, they did try. They did put a foot forward and try to do something. So this is one of the places that we store this information on the YouTube. And for those of you who want to see past or previous show, you can go on the YouTube and you can go to that channel, The Proven Truth. You can click that icon and you will see, we have, I think close to 70 video recording there right now. Check it out, okay? And while you're there, you can subscribe too. So once we post more show on the YouTube channel, you can be notified. Again, family, look, this is our first show post the 2018 midterm election. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our prosperity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. For the United States of America, to which the territory of Louisiana is a part of. And have been so for, not 300 years, but I've been so for quite some time. I've been so since the early 1800s. Okay? Hence, we have our own constitution. Here goes. All government of right originate with the people, is founded on their will alone, and is instituted to protect the rights of the individual and for the good of the whole. Its only legitimate ends are to secure justice for all, preserve peace, protect the rights, and promote the happiness and general welfare of the masses. We the people. We the people where? We the people of Southern United States? No. We the people of the territory of Louisiana. Family, for those of you who listen to this program for some time, for those of you who tune into this station and show us love, you know that we here on The Proven Truth, we are black conscious, not black ignorant. We are black conscious, not black ignorant. Every man have a right to his own opinion. Every race has a right to its own action. Therefore, let no man persuade you against your will. Let no other race influence you against your own. Our teacher, our philosopher, our father, our brother, our ancestor, the late, great, honorable Sir Marcus Mosiah Garvey, the philosophy and opinion of our ancestors. We recognize those who came before us. We recognize those who came before us, those giants that we are now. Because of them, we are here doing what we are doing. We recognize and we honor them. We honor them because they deserve to be honored. We honor them. We make mention of them because they deserve to be made mention of. You see, far too many of us sit and glorify ourselves. Far too many of us sit and glorify ourselves, talk about what we have accomplished, talk about what we have done, not recognizing the fact that if it wasn't for someone who give us or who stretched their hand out to us in some part in our life or our career, it wouldn't happen. As a race, far too many of us sit back, tell ourselves and others that we have arrived. And if it wasn't for people, men and women before us, our ancestors, we wouldn't be afforded that opportunity or that privilege to be doing what we are now doing. Who are we talking about, family? The late, great, Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Nanny from the Maroon, Paul Bogle, Fred Hamilton, Maurice Bishop, Malcolm X, Carter G. Wilson, Harriet Tubman, Thomas Sankara, Somoral Mackell, Bookman Juti, Toussaint Louverture, Jack Dessalines. Again, this is our list. This is our list of ancestors who we choose to honor. This is our list of ancestors who we choose to idolize. This is our list of ancestors who we choose to pay respect to on a day-to-day basis. This is our list of ancestors who we want to say to them much love and thank you. Now, bear in mind, my brothers and sisters, my listening audience, we are not saying by no way, shape, or form that these people that we make mention of here are the only people or ancestors who we pay tribute to or who deserve to be mentioned. But what we are saying, this is our compilation. This is our list, right? We don't have the time, or we cannot call out our name every single ancestors who we think deserve that honor. Not only that, again, we compile this list. We choose to make mention of those who sacrificed their life selfishly for us as a race, as a people, without no limelight, or without no other group or no other group of people telling us who we need to idolize. We make mention of people who we know for a fact did something, and when they did it with the mindset that, look, I am going against the grade. They did it because they know it was righteous. They know it was just. They know that it was the right thing to do. And they did it also, listen to me carefully. They did it knowing that the fact that they are doing it is to basically sign their death warrant. Unlike these so-called leaders we have today, so-called leaders, so-called elected officials, these no-good bastards, who are we talking about? We know them living here in the territory of New Orleans. We know them. Look, Cedric Richmond, that clown who just was, because of his cronyism, was re-elected to the 2nd Congressional District. Because of a matter of fact, let's jump right into it, family. Let's jump right into it. What is today's topic? What have we titled today's topic? What role does the media plays in today's society? I'm posing a question to the listening audience. I'm posing a question. And this question is based off of what happened this past Tuesday, this past midterm election, November 6, 2018. What role does the media plays in today's society? What role did the media play in this past election here in the territory of Louisiana? Now, this past election, there was there was people on the ballot running for the United States Senate, right? U.S. representative was on the ballot. Now, in this territory, the 2nd Congressional District, we had 4 candidates that was actually on the ballot running. We have an incumbent, that criminal I made mention about a while ago, Cedric Richmond. We had another young independent brother by the name of Beldan Nooneman Batiste. We have 2 other candidates, Jesse and Rodriguez. Okay? Now, let me tell you my opinion briefly about that race, or about that whole campaign. Now, when we look at the stats for that race, we recognize, or we consider, look, when it comes to turnout, anything below 50%, it's a low turnout. Anything below 50%, it's a low turnout. And as I've been saying for some time, that here in Louisiana, unlike other territories like Georgia, New Jersey, Kentucky, Texas, Florida, you name it. Massachusetts, you name it. Even though in other territories, like in Massachusetts, where we have Cedric Richmond crony friend, what's her name, Elizabeth Warner, did the same thing that Cedric Richmond did. They utilize their authority, their influence, to control or to regulate who is on the ballot or who get the limelight of the media. You wouldn't believe. Look, here it is. We have Cedric Richmond going back to Washington, D.C. at an election. And Cedric Richmond did not do one debate, did not conduct one debate. Not one single debate did Cedric Richmond attend or was a part of. And here it is, he is going back to Washington, D.C. with 81% of the vote that was casted going to him. When you look on the fact that the person that was actually running or the third percentile in vote on the ballot didn't even have a photograph on the local media. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. When you look on that concept, the proven truth.
Yes, Mr. Batiste.
Oh man. Oh family.
What time is
Here we have on the look, Mr. Batiste Nooneman. We was just look, I was just talking about your actual race, right? Or this the election that was just finished a couple of days ago. No, so your timing is perfect. Now, for the listening audience, we have on the line, right? We have on the line with us right now, Nooneman Batiste. He was actually on the ballot. He was actually one of the candidates on the ballot, going up against Mr. Cedric Richmond. Now, Batiste, how you feel about what's your feeling about this past election?
Hello?
Yes.
What you said?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. What you said?
Yeah, I was asking, what was your views on this past election?
Well, I felt great about the election. I got 17,000 votes, but, again, it was that a grassroots candidate that they tried to leave out, like the New Orleans Tribune paper, the Greater New Orleans Alliance, and this group in the Ninth Ward and the Louisiana Weekly. They went with the money candidates, but and that's what they do when they do endorsements. They make you come sit there two hours, hour and 30 minutes when they already know they're endorsing a candidate. So why are you interviewing all other candidates? You got to pay like $30,000 to be on their ballot. But I felt great about the election, and I still saw a lot of voter suppression. The handicapped, the disabled people couldn't vote at McDonald 28 school, and to this day, today nobody has answered for that. They disallowed the handicapped people vote. And the Advocate did a story on that, and when the grassroots candidates run, this is what they do to the grassroots candidate. But I'm feeling good, and I got plans, and I'm trying to get my of course you, Mr. Anthony, I'm trying to get you to run for something. I don't know what it's going to be, but I know you're going to run for something, and we just going to keep pushing. But I made a campaign promise, and the campaign promise was to go help the homeless meet to the bridge on Canal and Claiborne. So what I'm doing, right now I'm riding 200 bikes up for the kids. The kids that unfortunate, because when they give bikes, when they give toys, some people have 4 and 5 bikes, but we never get to the kids that really need the bikes. And we're going to begin deodorant and soap and all that out, because I made that campaign. Everything I said in my platform, everything I'm going to do, even though I'm not in office, I'm going to do. Because I've been doing it, and they're not going to stop me,
Hey, let me ask you this, Noonan, man. How you feel about the turnout? The results are in, and the turnout, it's just under 50. Well, it's the actual numbers is 46% of the electorate of the electorate actually came out and voted. How you feel about the turnout?
The turnout, I think, was improvement, but a lot of people, it could have been better, but a lot of people, like I told somebody, I met a couple of youngsters, and I said, y'all gonna vote for me? They said, we'll vote for you, but we don't trust the voting process. I said, why? They said, because when we vote these officials in, and after, they like Mr. Brown, y'all in the community, y'all was educating people on the ballot and everything. They said, we know y'all. We don't even know our elected officials. So, and so I think the vote could have been better. I think it could have been better, but I had to look at the other side, Mr. Brown, that the kids were saying why they don't vote. And I told them they still should vote, but it was just like when Mr. Brown, you decided to be an independent, and I decided, me and you went to Democrats things, we was diehard Democrats, but after we saw it was a fraud process, what we did, we went to independence, but that still don't stop the work, because the politicians that in office, they're not doing what we doing. We knocking on doors, getting people out to vote, and doing what we have to. You see, and that's what the Democrat Party is supposed to be doing, but they're not doing that. And so, we got a lot of people registered to vote, but we can't even get the list. They want you to pay for the lists and all that. And the Democrat Party should be doing that. So I thought I like it was 46%, but it could have been better. It could have been way better. But again, they had some stuff in New Orleans at the polls, and nobody have checked it. Handicapped people vote. That's gone against the Disabled Act. Somebody should be tried for that.
Okay, so one of your complaints is that the percentage of vote as it is right now could have been much higher if it wasn't for the tampering or the people who didn't have the opportunity to vote. Okay. Let me ask you this: what do you think about the again? There was actually 4 candidates on the ballot running for the 2nd congressional district, right? What do you think about the media coverage? The local media coverage. as it relates to
the media coverage is what they do to the grassroots and the low candidates. They don't cover them. They cover the big name folks. The media is, I hate to use it, but they are fake media.
Right.
They are fake media because they don't do the grassroots issues. Even if you running, they don't give you that airtime. They put like the incumbent or whoever they want in. It's like they're endorsing them already on the TV because they give them all the time, but they don't give the grassroots people no time, or the people that's working in the community that's running, because that should be the top story, the grassroots person that's running. So the media, I don't have no faith in them. I don't have no faith in the media, the New Orleans Tribune, no faith in them, because what they did, they didn't even put me in the paper, right? But they put the other three candidates, so right there I know something was wrong. They did the same thing in a group in the Ninth Ward with Reverend Calhoun and Walter Goodman. They did the same thing, and all them wanted Cedric. But the media don't cover our stories. But the minute something breaks, Mr. Brown, me, you, grassroots people are there to help the people with housing, no matter what it is. But they can't fight. They can't nobody they elected in office.
Right.
And so that's just the part to me, because I'm going, it ain't going to change this media. We need to find a way to start our own media, do our own media where we can, where they don't cut the stories out and they tell the truth. But the media, I don't have no faith in the media.
Let me ask you this.
No faith.
Let me ask you this. So, as I was saying to the listening audience a while ago, you can correct me if I'm wrong, you know what I mean? Because again, the name of this show is A Proven Truth. So, how many debates did you actually attend, or how many debates did you actually have with the incumbent, Cedric Richmond?
We didn't have none. Cedric didn't even show up at no debate.
Zero, no debate.
He bought his way.
No debate. So
no debate.
So he was on the ballot, going up against three other candidates.
That's right. And never showed up at no debates, didn't talk. In the first debate I went to the Good Alliance, everybody in the room said, Mr. Baptiste, you should have won this endorsement. Because Cedric gave them money.
Yeah.
That's why. And what we need to do is make it that a candidate can only get 50,000. Make it less and make it fair for the people, because it's not fair. They buy the preachers, they buy the endorsements.
So you're saying live on the air today that Cedric Richmond actually got endorsement because of a financial contribution that he may give these people.
Yes.
So
you can go. Yes.
So and he didn't even, because the endorsement was actually in already, he didn't even show up to the debates.
And then he didn't show up for the debate. And after he paid him $30,000, he's gonna get that money right back, because they cut these deals. They cut a lot of deals and they repay him the money back. So he ain't losing out on nothing. You go to the Secretary of State, and this is the proven truth, your show. Go to the Secretary of State, pull Cedric's name up. He got over $5 million. He got $8,500 from Energy. Then he got $49,000 from Energy. And that's another story, But he haven't showed up at no debates. He bought endorsements. And what the worst group that got me is these preachers, Willie Gabriel and them. They'd be in church Sunday saying, do the right thing, do the truth, and, preaching the word and talking about her justice. Well, they know Cedric has been unfair to the people, but y'all took that money and let him, endorse him.
Right.
And people are still suffering. No change in the Ninth Ward, no change in the New Orleans East. But the voting the voting, see, and then we still got Mr. Brown's voter suppression because the law states that every district is supposed to have a voting poll, right? But if you go to the Baptist Seminary, they got 9 voting polls there. And see, a lot of people, like we're at 46%, but think about if we had voting polls in every district. It'll be high because when you got to walk from the Ninth Ward to Colton School, old lady 80-something years old had to walk way from the Ninth Ward to Colton School, right? And I had to give a bus fare to catch the bus back because she said it was my right to vote. Now, she said, but son, there ain't no voting polls. So I went and checked. Voting polls, what they have did with voter suppression, move polls out of certain districts. And it's the candidates that's doing it. I mean, the people that's in office. So that's like voter suppression, you know.
You know something? We had this discussion a while back with a couple people within the community. Mr. Carl Gallman being one of those prominent people, and I'm glad you brought that issue up because within certain community there is no polling station, right? And even let's take even New Orleans East for a moment. Based on what happened a year ago or a year and a half ago with the tornado, right? You got people that's disenfranchised right now, don't know where to actually go and cast the vote, and there was no mass information that was sent out to these people, telling these people that look, this is your new polling station. This is where you need to go. There was no There was no accommodation, as you just said, Mr. Baptiste, for the elderly within the community. So that's right. That could be one. Now the truth about it, when you look at the overall figure, the overall figure, it's well. When you look on the congressional district, like the 6th congressional district, their turnout was like a 53, close to 54%, right? But so if there was adequate amount of polling station within the community or within a certain political subdivision, right, you would have it's a strong possibility that you'd have more people coming out to the polls. And you are saying because that's not the case. That could be one contributing factor to why we only have a mere 46% turnout in this in the electorate for this. That's right. Yeah. Look. I back you. I believe you. Look, the total figure as it is right now is 235,900 votes. That's totally cast, right? Making up that 100% figure. No, and the truth, well, bear in mind that it's a midterm election, you know what I mean? And a midterm election don't really have that strong turnout. But even with that said, based on the contributing factors that you just laid out a while ago, we can see why that there's a lot of people that was disenfranchised that couldn't actually cast the vote. Let me ask you this, Mr. Baptiste. So when is the next time, how long of a term does Cedric Richmond have? 2 years. 2 years. So we're talking about 2020. He'll be back out there for 2020, right?
Yeah, 2020.
Let me ask you, based on this is actually your first time running for this position?
Yeah.
Okay, and I would assume that you gathered some type of experience doing that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so will you be back in the ballot come 2020?
Yeah, 2020, I'll be back on the ballot, and if not before, because my options, I got a good feeling. The 17,000 I got phone calls. People have reached out to me, and I will be back on the ballot. And guess what? I'm going to be better prepared because listen, I did a grassroots movement, right? And this the trip part. We didn't even spend no money. He had $5 million and he had to dig in that money. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, you know something.
So it makes me feel good. Somebody had to spend that $5 million to beat me with no money.
Right. No, the truth about it.
You see what I'm saying?
I was actually.
It makes me feel good, and then it makes me feel good because I saw you on the campaign trail, Mr. Brown, and you was out there educating people about the amendments. And listen, 4 of them won, 2 of them didn't. But guess what I like about it, Mr. Brown, is that you educated people, and people didn't know. And that's supposed to be the job of the people. I mean, you're like Arthur Morrell and Cassandra. They don't have to tell them how to vote. And Mr. No Good Errol Williams, you know, they're not in the people. So the people are being led, and at the end it's going to hurt the people because Energy robbing them, Stooge and Waterboy, and like that thing they voted for, he tricked the people. And when they see, they're going to tell you, call your show and say, Mr. Brown, we sorry. Because you was out there. Nobody didn't pay you to be out there. Nobody didn't pay you since the elections. Before the election started with these amendments, I take my hat off to you because you was out there passing and helping people. And more people call you than ever about their taxes now because you are helping the elderly. You are helping the sick. And it ain't about no money for you because if it was, you'll be rich, all the people you didn't help. And so that's what I appreciate. And it's saving, you help people save their houses. You taught him about the Avalona tax, and he came right back. But the real thing is, I love something you said because I went and researched it today because I know you the proven truth, so I already know it was true. But the bill don't even really matter.
Right, you're talking.
You see, but you still educated the people, and that's what I like, you know, because everybody can't read, everybody can't write, everybody can't comprehend, but you was taking your time out your busy schedule to go help them, and you did it. And that's what a real assessor supposed to be. What you was doing, teaching people how to save their houses, telling people the truth. I guess that's why you named your show The Proven Truth, because every time I see you, I ain't heard you tell a lie ever since I knowed you. That's the proven truth.
Man,
and so I'm saying, I don't know what you're going to do, Mr. Brown, but I want the viewers to help me to beg you to run in 2020 for assessor because I think you was the man that's fit for it and everything. And I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be with you because people love, man, look, people was calling me, yeah, you ran a good race, but Mr. Brown, we love him because he educated us about the taxes. And it was close, but the people got educated. And what I like about you is you done taught the people, not just on that bill, you teaching people about taxes. And that's what some of these lawmakers are supposed to be doing, and you ain't getting a nickel or a penny. That's grassroots.
Hey, look, Mr.
You know,
Baptiste,
you'll get 1 nickel, 1 penny, and then I see you printing out papers. I saw you printing out signs. All that's coming from your pocket. And you didn't ask one person for a nickel, a dime, or a quarter. You doing the work. And see, the politicians that in office, I'm not worried about none of them because I know me, you, a couple of people, all these people, grassroots people, we are getting the job done. We're really doing their job, and we their boss. We are their boss, and they need to recognize that.
Look, Mr. Baptiste,
you know,
I appreciate the fact that you're calling today, and you actually give us.
And I love your show because one of my partners called me last night. He said, "You know, Mr. Brown?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I love his show because he tell the truth. He don't hold no punches. It can be his brother. He'll tell his brother off. They like how you calling the mayor, everybody, because they know the truth." Some people know it, but they don't have the guts like you, Mr. Brown, to put yourself on the line, you know, and like we put ourselves, but you put yourself on the line every day, and that's what I liked about you. If I had to go to war, I'd love to be you right on my side. Ain't too many guys I trust, and ain't too many guys I know you trust, but we'll be side by side because I know you're a fighter, and I know you love your people. That's why you did this show. You didn't have to do The Proven Truth, but you love educating your people. Man. And they tried to knock you off air. But guess what? You're still standing, Mr. Brown. You didn't run or nothing. They tried to come at you, and they still come at you about your house, about your taxes. They do all that. Right ticket. But guess what? You don't bow. That's what I like. You don't bow down because you don't know how. And I appreciate it.
Man, look, I thank you for those kind words, Mr. Batiste. You know,
Yeah. So,
even
so
though
you just go ahead and do your shit, and I'm gonna keep listening.
all right, man. Look, thanks for
All
calling,
right, thank
man.
you, Mr. Brown. God bless.
All right, God bless. God bless. Now, family, that was Nooniman Belden Batiste. He was actually one of the candidates that was on the ballot for this past election. You know, with a turnout of basically 235,000, we'll call it 236,000 populace or people. He got 7% of that, accumulating to just over 17,000 votes. Now, look, as Mr. Batiste just said, you know, I mean, he's not. Well, you guys heard him for yourself. He was upbeat. He was really pumped. You know, look, there was over 17,000 votes that he got without spending a dime, by just going out there talking to people. Okay, within. Not even the truth about it, in all fear, if truth be told, he didn't even go as far and as wide as the 2nd Congressional District spans, you know, because he didn't have the resources to do that, right? And he basically go there and look, these are the type of people who we want in public office. These are the type of people, we need people who have so much love for humanity that they are willing to put their selves out there, their names out there, they put everything out there and get things done. We are sick and tired of politicians here in Louisiana. We are sick and tired of politicians in Louisiana. For those of you who watch this, listen to this show for some time, know who politicians are. When we talk about politicians, we're talking about Bernadette Johnson, we're talking about Cedric Richardson, we're talking about Errol G. Williams, we're talking about Latoya Cantrell, we're talking about, look, we just name them. In Louisiana, we have politicians. We don't have elected officials. That's what we have in Louisiana. Okay, let's touch on another category real quick, family. Let's touch on another category real quick. On the ballot that was just conducted, there was 6 constitutional amendment that was on the ballot. There was 6 constitutional amendment that was on the ballot. 6 proposition. Now, when I recognized these propositions, what I did, I went out, as here Mr. Batiste mentioned of, I went out, and for those of you who have access to Facebook, you can go on the Facebook page and you can actually see the document I'm talking about. I went out when I recognized that the average person didn't have a clue that was what. Look, family, 8 out of 10 people that went to the ballot and cast a vote didn't have a clue to what was on the ballot until they went to the polling station. Listen to what I'm saying carefully. 8 out of 10 individuals who casted a vote in this election didn't have a clue what was on the ballot until they actually went to the polling station and got that what you call it, that sample ballot. It wasn't until they got that sample ballot. Now, early out in the game, what I did, when I recognized what that criminal imposter, that criminal crony, that criminal no-good self-righteous bastard, Errol G. Williams and his cronies was doing, I started to voice my opinion and speak to people about proposition number 6. Okay? And while going out there and talking to people, people ask me, oh, Mr. Brown, so what are the other propositions that's on the ballot? So I went and I saw it fit to not only speak about that one proposition number 6, but to inform people about all 6 that was on the ballot. All 6. Because away from proposition number 2, there was no interest, or there was no popular interest about the other 5. Look, these proposition that was on the ballot, family, proposition number 2, special interest group and other, people who have ties to this proposition spent over $1 million. Over $1.5 million was spent on proposition number 2. Now, the truth about it, proposition number 2, as I've been saying, is one of those propositions that I call common sense proposition. And I, in my list, also voted yes for that proposition. Okay? I went and create this. And what I do, I outline on this document how I choose are the best way to vote based on my overstanding. And I also put a synopsis of what's on the ballot to these people. Okay? Family, give me 1 second. Okay? So, here it is. People went to the ballot and they vote yes. They vote yes for every single proposition that was on the ballot. Now, again, from 1 to 4, I voted yes. Number 5 and number 6, I voted no. I promote a no vote for number 5 and number 6, right? But for those people who went out and cast a vote, a lot more of them voted yes instead of no. Look, to me, it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Because when you understand what proposition number 6 is, and when you understand the misinformation that was out there, when you understand the lies that was told about proposition number 6 and number 5, when you understand the fact that the media wasn't expounding on proposition number 5 or number 6, when you understand that they try to keep proposition number 5 and number 6 low-key, just like what they try to keep just about this whole election here in Louisiana low-key, because you have to understand the concept, family. This is what happened, and people, the more low-key that these elections are, one, it's the better it is for the incumbent, for somebody like a Cedric Richmond, because what people did are the only reason why Cedric Richmond is actually going back to Congress for another 2 years is because Cedric Richmond, people recognize his name when they went to the ballot. That's it. That's the only reason why Cedric Richmond is going back to Washington, D.C. Because people go into the ballot and they see the name Cedric Richmond and they see all them signs. Look, the only debate Cedric Richmond had, or the only conversation you could have with Cedric Richmond, it was to talk to his signs. You see, Cedric Richmond had more signs out there more than anyone else. Physically, the people of the 2nd Congressional District are away from his political cronies. Hey, family, listen to me. Do you guys remember a few months ago we did a show, right? And on the show we had Mr. Belden Batiste with us on the show. Do you guys recall we informing you about Cedric Richmond having an event in Mid-City, right? And you actually have to pay or contribute to attend the function. Do you guys remember that? And do you guys remember what my comment or what my remarks was about that function? Cedric Richmond called his cronies. His cronies came with their checkbooks and he told them, he gave them their marching orders. That's it. That's how Cedric Richmond remains or continue to be the representative for the 2nd Congressional District. He called his men. You want to look? Family. Don't look. I'm not overstating this, or I'm not exaggerating. I'm not just talking because I want to talk. Cedric Richmond utilized his authority, his portfolio, his influence. When Cedric Richmond called, his cronies run to his and came to him like our dog come to his master. And look, we see people like Paula Brown. We see people like Brissette. We see people from Washington, from Baton Rouge, from New Orleans, from all over came when Cedric Richmond called, and he gave them one instruction. What was the instruction? He said, go out and tell the people that I'm back on the ballot. That's why I told them. I couldn't believe it when I heard and see that crap. Cedric Richmond came to Mid-City. Look, the people in New Orleans East, don't look. Let me tell you something, family. I've been saying it for some time now, and you know, I mean, it's sad. This is what it is, or how it is. It is sad, but we have people that when they go to the ballot, they vote straight party line. They vote the Democratic ticket or the Republican ticket. The issue doesn't matter to them. You got people that go to the ballot and cast them. No, look. Critics. I cannot see my critics right now, so I have to address the critics them. What the individual voter want to do or how they want to exercise that right is theirs. I understand that. I understand that concept. What the individual voter want to do. But what I'm saying to you, it's time for us to be informed. It's time for us to cut the navel string. It's time for us to stop listening to biased media. It's time for us to stop listening to these politicians and think. Utilize your brain cell. Utilize your birthright. Utilize what you were born with, that common sense. Utilize it. Stop voting party line. So because this guy is a Democrat or because this guy is a Republican, you don't care a rat's ass if he's robbing you, if he's starving you, but because he's a Democrat, you vote for him? Or because you recognize his name? Look, I was out there. I ain't going to spend much more time on this criminal bastard, Cedric Richmond, the godfather of the loot. Look, for those of you who don't know, because maybe I haven't said it for some time, Cedric Richmond is the godfather for the Louisiana political machine. When Cedric Richmond called all his foot soldiers, run to his beck and call. From Bernadette Johnson to the lowest city court judge, from John Bell Edwards to the lowest representative, from the Louisiana House, and look, all of them run to his beck and call. He's the Godfather. You know the Godfather who the God. Look, it's a mafia, it's a gangstership. That's what we have here. Look, what you people calling government, this ain't a goddamn government. What? Government? Show me one of these bastards who believe in the Constitution. Show me one of them. Show me one of these criminals. Show me one of these politicians who believe, honor, trust, and abide in the Louisiana Constitution. Show me one. They don't, man. They don't, family. And that's that. Look, that's the look. I don't give a ras. Look. I care less what nobody want to think or say about me, or what they want to think and say about me. Huh? I care less, man. And that's why they don't like me. And I don't give a rat's ass. You know why? Because at the end of the day, I don't want to brush shoulder or take picture with them. I don't want to do that. At the end of the day, I'm not begging them for a job. At the end of the day, if my black ass is hungry, listen to me, man. If my black ass is hungry, I can put food on my table. If I need to go to look, I have a roof over my head. I don't want them to do that for me. That is not the purpose and intent of government. People, because they don't understand, they don't understand, they don't recognize the power that they have, they think that these politicians are superior people, are human beings. They think that these politicians are people of moral attributes. They think that these politicians, by just being politicians, they are nice, decent. They're not. They're criminals. They're criminals, people. Understand that. Now, let's talk about one specific criminal right now. The proven truth.
Oh, hi, Anthony. This is Mike Howells.
Oh, you doing? Hey, dude, Mike.
Hi. Thanks for your show. I just want to start out when we talk about Cedric Richmond to remember that 17,255 voters cast their ballot for Belden Nooney Batiste and his Poor People's Movement.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That is no small accomplishment. I can't remember the last time a candidate who would actually answer to the working class in this city got that many votes.
Right.
Like, for instance, when Malcolm Suber ran for city council, he got 973 votes. And that was for at large.
Right.
So there was real support for Nooney, and not as much as we'd like, but that message resonated. We also got the endorsement of a local newspaper, Anti-Gravity. They liked his Poor People's Campaign message.
Right.
And so we basically had the effect of making some breakthrough that ended Cedric Richmond's monopoly of claiming to speak for working class people when we know he doesn't.
Right.
So, yeah, it wasn't where we wanted to go, but we made progress.
Mike, this
you can be sure that.
Mike,
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut you, but this is, I don't know if you was listening to the show earlier, but Nooney was actually on the show earlier. And as we were saying, if the local media had paid any attention to Mr. Batiste, to Nooney, right, or give him any airtime, more people would have seen him, would have heard him, and would have cast the vote for him. You see?
Exactly.
So go ahead.
It isn't just the local media. I mean, they're for the 1%. We expect that of them. I mean, we do want them to cover our campaign, but we expect that. But also what's very sad is the role that the leaders of the so-called left organizations played in New Orleans.
Yes.
And they have an audience, and they could have helped in terms of promoting Nooney's campaign.
Right.
And they didn't. And we have to ask ourselves, why didn't the DSA, the workers group, or the leadership of People's Assembly, in all these cases, I'm not blaming the rank and file, but the leadership, why didn't they basically come out and support Nooney? They knew Nooney. He was an activist in their movements. He was struggled alongside them. But they were silent. And I think that silence has everything to do with the fact that these so-called leaders value their ties to Cedric Richmond more than they value their ties to the working class. And so they can get a little privilege here or there by not rocking the boat. And I think that contributed, too, to, we could have gotten a lot more votes.
Yeah.
So we had that. And I think that was a problem, too. And then we've got all these so-called nonprofits that say they're progressive. Well, they just automatically vote for Richmond, even though we fund their campaigns with our tax dollars. Right. So, yes, it is a problem with the media. But, we kind of expect that they're bought and owned by large corporations. At least the mainstream business media, not this one, obviously, otherwise you wouldn't be on it. At the same time, we need to look at our so-called progressive leaders. I mean, I don't expect a Democratic leader to endorse Nooney. And by the way, every elected official in New Orleans is a Democrat, but they all are on the old boys, old girls network of scratching each other's back.
Right.
But I do expect these so-called radical groups that call themselves socialist, communist, good government, whatever they call, I expect them to support him because they know who he is and what he's contributed. They know he's not on the take, but they didn't support him. Right. And that's another level of problem. At least I can get it out. We can get it out talking on your show about this.
Right.
I don't want to obsess about it, but, Richmond has a lot of friends that are supposedly radical leftists, and they're not really that radical or leftist at all.
Right. Well, Nooney just said it a while ago, Mike, and he was right. These guys came out and they spent over $5 million. An election day, they had signs all over the place. They pay people to go out and all these signs. They control the narrative that was out there. Well, I know the media alone is not to blame, but look, again, it's the first time for Nooney, right? He acknowledged that it was his first time. He got some experience. He's not disappointed. His spirit is up when you look at the fact that he actually, a matter of fact, at one point there was ranking him. He was coming in with like 10% of the vote. But when once it all settled and done, he actually ended up with 7%. Which, look, again, for a guy who I think the most he spent on this campaign was $300. It's saying a lot. You see, it's saying a lot.
Right.
And he didn't have the resources to go as far and as wide as he wanted to. You know what I mean? So this is just one momentum. This is just the first time that he have actually, so he gained some experience. And I think that experience will elevate him and to take other steps or to move forward in the next 2 years. But look, I think you're right, Mike. Over 17,000 votes. That's something to be said. You know what I mean? That's something to be said.
Right.
And picking up some endorsement here and there, that's still something to be said. So look. We know that we are living in New Orleans or Louisiana, one of the most corrupted political crony place on planet Earth. So, it's all about moving forward, organizing ourselves. And look, you're gonna have people out there who speak as the thing is, you have people because they want to brush shoulder with these criminals, these politicians. They will stay away from you, right? Or don't endorse you or don't support you because they want the support of, their crony friends. So we understand that concept, Mike.
I know you do. I just wanted to bring that up to people. But to think that even though the entire, machine was against them, that he still got 17,000 votes, and they knew where Nooney was coming from.
Right.
And he was clearly the biggest challenge to the status quo. That's an accomplishment.
That is, man. Look, my brother, I thank you for calling in, man. And keep listening. Okay, thanks. Okay, 17,000 votes. Look, I think that is an accomplishment. That is an accomplishment. When you look at somebody who don't, not a career politician, it's all to the good. It's all to the good. Okay, let's look on this. Let's look on what I was about to talk about. Oh, the proposition number 6. One of the reasons why. Now, look. These are the numbers. 809,000 voted yes. 596,000 voted no. Total, this is the lowest out of all the proposition that's on the ballot. Out of all the constitutional amendment that's on the ballot, proposition number 6 received the lowest participation. Proposition number 6 received the lowest participation. Only 47% of the electorate actually cast a vote for that. Okay? 1.4 million people actually cast a vote for that. Now, this is what I'm saying. When you recognize the... Hold on, family. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break. And then we come right back. But before we take the break, well, let's take a quick break. Let's listen to our sister explain or give us some insight about the Democratic Party. And one of the reasons why we're going to do this is because, again, as I said before, you got people who actually go to the ballot. And when they go to the ballot, the issue itself, they take no consideration of. They just go to the ballot. They look for everything Democratic and they vote. They look for everything Republican and they vote. They look for everything independent or whatever it is and they vote down the line and they don't look at the issue. But one of the biggest things that we are having, or issue that we are having right here, right now, is the lack of knowledge. We have people out there who, because they are not informed or they are not aware of certain things, they tend to act and speak a certain way. Right? And to those people, we are not knocking you or we are not belittling you, because if truth be told, we were there too. Right? It wasn't until our knowledge increased or till we were aware or the truth was actually presented to us, then we took certain action. Okay? But let's listen to our sister tell you about the goddamn party that you love so much, the Democratic Party.
Think about racial equality and civil rights. Which political party comes to mind? The Republicans or the Democrats? Most people would probably say the Democrats, but this answer is incorrect. Since its founding in 1829, the Democratic Party has fought against every major civil rights initiative and has a long history of discrimination. The Democratic Party defended slavery, started the Civil War, opposed Reconstruction, founded the Ku Klux Klan, imposed segregation, perpetrated lynchings, and fought against the Civil Rights Acts of the 1950s and 1960s. In contrast, the Republican Party was founded in 1854 as an anti-slavery party. Its mission was to stop the spread of slavery into the new Western territories with the aim of abolishing it entirely. This effort, however, was dealt a major blow by the Supreme Court in the 1857 case Dred Scott versus Sandford. The court ruled that slaves are citizens, their property. The 7 justices who voted in favor of slavery, all Democrats. The 2 justices who dissented, both Republicans. The slavery question was, of course, ultimately resolved by a bloody civil war. The commander-in-chief during that war was the first Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, the man who freed the slaves. 6 days after the Confederate Army surrendered, John Wilkes Booth, a Democrat, assassinated President Lincoln. Lincoln's vice president, a Democrat named Andrew Johnson, assumed the presidency. But Johnson adamantly opposed Lincoln's plan to integrate the newly freed slaves into the South's economic and social order. Johnson and the Democratic Party were unified in their opposition to the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery, the 14th Amendment, which gave blacks citizenship, and the 15th Amendment, which gave blacks the vote. All 3 passed only because of universal Republican support. During the era of Reconstruction, federal troops stationed in the South helped secure rights for the newly freed slaves. Hundreds of black men were elected to Southern state legislatures as Republicans, and 22 black Republicans served in the U.S. Congress by 1900. The Democrats did not elect a black man to Congress until 1935. But after Reconstruction ended, when the federal troops went home, Democrats roared back into power in the South. They quickly reestablished white supremacy across the region with measures like black codes, laws that restricted the ability of blacks to own property and run businesses, and they imposed poll taxes and literacy tests used to subvert black citizens' right to vote. And how was all of this enforced? By terror, much of it instigated by the Ku Klux Klan, founded by a Democrat, Nathan Bedford Forrest. As historian Eric Foner, himself a Democrat, notes, in effect, the Klan was a military force serving the interests of the Democratic Party. President Woodrow Wilson, a Democrat, shared many views with the Klan. He resegregated many federal agencies and even screened the first movie ever played at the White House, the racist film, The Birth of a Nation, originally entitled The Klansman. A few decades later, the only serious congressional opposition to the landmark Civil Rights Act of 1964 came from Democrats. 80% of Republicans in Congress supported the bill, less than 70% of Democrats did. Democratic senators filibustered the bill for 75 days until Republicans mustered the few extra votes needed to break the logjam. And when all of their efforts to enslave blacks, keep them enslaved, and then keep them from voting had failed, the Democrats came up with a new strategy. If black people are going to vote, they might as well vote for Democrats, as President Lyndon Johnson was purported to have said about the Civil Rights Act. I'll have them voting Democrat for 200 years. So now, the Democratic Party prospers on the votes of the very people it has spent much of its history oppressing. Democrats falsely claim that the Republican Party is the villain, when in reality, it's the failed policies of the Democratic Party that have kept blacks down. Massive government welfare has decimated the black family. Opposition to school choice has kept them trapped in failing schools. Politically correct policing has left black neighborhoods defenseless against violent crime. So when you think about racial equality and civil rights, which political party should come to mind? I'm Carol Swain, professor of political science and law at Vanderbilt University.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Carol. Thank you for that history lesson. Oh my God, family, look. Let's touch real quick and let's touch real quick on the ballot issue that was on the ballot. Again, all 6 ballot measures was voted yes to. And our handout, we vote yes for 1, we vote yes for 2, we vote yes for 3, we vote yes for 4. We vote no for 5, we voted no for 6. However, even though there's a yes vote on proposition number 6, I'm saying to you that it's bullshit. Yeah, you heard me right. It's bullshit. We are living in the United States of America. We are living in the United States of America. And if you should believe the consensus, if you should believe the populace teaching or doctrine, it is the most powerful and richest country on the face of the earth, if you actually believe that statement. However, what we do have here is laws. We do have laws. And our laws can be traced back to the Constitution. Can be traced back to the Constitution. And one of the things is, when it come on to the laws, or when it come on to that body that can draft law, the legislative body, according to the premise of the law, and according to precedents, a law that is drafted or is written in violation of the Constitution is null and void of law. A law that is written in violation of the Constitution is null and void of law. All laws which are repugnant to the Constitution are null and void of law. Any first-year attorney will tell you that, or will so confer. Any first-year attorney will tell you that, because any first-year attorney, one of the most precedent notation or citation is Marbury versus Madison. This is a 1803 case. As a matter of fact, this is the case that gave the Supreme Court its power or its teeth. Any law which are repugnant to the Constitution is null and void of law. Let me give you a next one. Where rights secured by the Constitutions are involved, there can be no rule making or legislation which would abrogate them. Now listen, this one is so important, and this is a case, Miranda versus Arizona. I've been saying for quite some time now, I've been saying to the dismay and to the dislike and to the disgust of that criminal bastard Errol G. Williams and his crony friends. His crony friends like that so-called Judge Etlin Sims Julian, Division N Civil District Court, and his crony friends that form up that LLC, CivicSource.com, and his crony friends like J.P. Merle and all them criminals. That having a roof over one's head is a right. It's a right. It's a human right, not a privilege, and it could never be a privilege. Again, let me say it one more time. I've been saying for years that having a roof over one's head, it's a right, it's a human right, and not a privilege. Just like how the air that we breathe, it's a right, it's not a privilege. We get that right, that's a birthright. We get that right from our God. Our God give us that right when He create us human being. It's a right. And where there is rights involved, we have rights, human rights involved. There cannot be no legislative action to curtail that right. Follow me, family. Follow what I'm saying. Where there's a human right, where there's matters of rights involved, no government, no elected official, no politician can draft. They cannot legislate it. They cannot legislate your right. So somebody can tell you, oh, well, look, you can only breathe air. You can only breathe in air every 2 hours or every other hour. They can tell you that you can only eat. They can tell you can only wear clothes. They can tell you can only take a shower. They can tell you can only. There are certain things. There are certain things that no government structure or no individuals to do, because it's a right. It's a God. It's a natural right. Now, again, if you think that I'm full of crap, or you have a clue what I'm saying, or if you think that I'm a buffoon, or maybe from my critics, you think that I come from some other planet away from planet Earth, listen to this. Where rights secured by the constitutions are involved, there can be no rulemaking or legislation which would abrogate them, right? And this is coming from Miranda versus Arizona. That's just one citation. And let me stick on this citation for a second. Because, again, what are we talking about? Proposition number 6, that this criminal bastard, this criminal imposter, the person who is calling himself the Orleans Parish Tax Assessor, that criminal that been receiving money from we the people, from the people of New Orleans for the past close to 40 years now, to the point where he's building a mansion out there in New Orleans East, out in New Orleans, in Gentilly Waiver, to the point where he's bragging about his multi-car garage because he has been robbing the people of Louisiana for so many years. When him and his crony friends, people like the so-called judge in Division N, Etlin Sims, this criminal that J.P. Morrell, and all of them criminals, when they put on the ballot, when they try to fool and mislead the people of Louisiana, because that's what they did. They drafted that proposition in such a way that it was ambiguous. People was coming up with their own conclusion to what it means. To what it means. People didn't have a clue that it was on the ballot. So these criminals, let me tell you, look, family, I'm the first one to admit it. These criminals, when they act, and that's why they are criminals, because they act with criminal intent. They have an intent to defraud the people of Louisiana. They have an intent to mislead the people of Louisiana. They have an intent to lie to the people of Louisiana. And they have an intent to reap from the lies that they perpetrate on the people of Louisiana. They are criminals. So when that criminal Errol G. Williams and that criminal J.P. Morrell and all them criminals come together and put drafted proposition number 6 in such a way that it would fool the people of Louisiana, and that when certain other people who think they are so they are so knowledgeable of certain things because they have certain license. Like certain people tell me, oh, well, look, I'm a licensed real estate person, so I know this. Or I'm an attorney, so you don't know shit. You think you know. You're dumb. So you just fall into that ignorant group that these criminals over here who know better, but because they want to secure their financial wealth and their financial being, they drafted this document or this proposition in such a way that when you read it, you don't look. And let me again, a first year law student would know that. When you look on a piece of legislative act or a piece of or something that have to do with the public, where it is written in such a way that it is ambiguous, that the average person cannot interpret it or cannot understand it, there is grounds or that in and of itself void whatever it is that they have drafted. But they draft it in such a way that they know that people would interpret it in more than one way. Or people would think that it's beneficial to them when these criminals over here, Errol G. Williams and his crony friends, look, Errol G. Williams been in public office for close to 40 years. He have a lot of crony friends. He have a lot of friends. And you know why? Because he controls one of the biggest pieces of real estate in the territory of Louisiana. He controls the municipal corporation under his authority, control one of the vastest piece of real estate that the governance over in Louisiana. So, and when he commit that criminal, look, check this out, man. When he commits that criminal act, Latoya Cantrell, the members of the New Orleans City Council, the members of the Louisiana, look, John Bell Edwards, all of them criminal, Errol G. Cedric, all of them criminal. Well, yes, Cedric too. Not because his retirement plan come from somewhere else. He's a part of this criminal act too. All of them benefit from it financially, family. So they won't call him out. They won't call him out because what? If they say, Errol, look, come on, Errol, look. The carters with our hand in the cookie jar. Let's now do the right thing. No, they ain't gonna say that shit. Why? Because they are reaping from the poisonous tree. They are reaping from the suffering of people in New Orleans. They are reaping from the suffering of people in Louisiana. They are reaping financially and politically from the backs of poor and elderly here in Louisiana. They're criminals. So what are we saying? They drafted this document, or this so-called constitutional amendment, because they think that we are dumb here. They think that everybody in Louisiana is a goddamn buffoon, or we're stupid, or we can't read, we don't understand who we are or our authority. Look, I don't care about nobody else in Louisiana. Anthony Brown know who I am and my portfolio and my authority. And I will say that until the day I die, Errol G. Williams and his crony friends are a liar. They are criminals. They can't talk to goddamn me. They're scared of my black ass. And they better goddamn be too. They put this ambiguous document or proposition on the ballot, calling it a constitutional amendment. No, it's passed or the people voted yes, because look, let me tell you something. Again, the bottom line is the people vote is yes. But what am I saying? I don't care that the people vote yes on that for many reasons. For many reasons, I don't care yes that the people voted yes on that. You know why? Because I know that neither Errol G. Williams nor his crony friends in the judicial branch, from Bernadette J. Johnson, the person who's calling herself the Louisiana Supreme Court, to that criminal in Civil District Court, Etlin Jim Jr., none of them can use that piece of crap on me. They can't. Why? Let's go back again. Where rights secure by the constitutions are involved, there can be no rule making or legislation which will what? It can't work. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That constitutional amendment that was drafted, it's void. It's against the Constitution. They draft this document in violation of the Louisiana Constitution. Family, you feel it? Look, I feel like a goddamn superstar right now, I tell you the truth. I feel like I could just lift this building the way. Because, look, and that's the reason why I was out there trying to inform the people of Louisiana, or as, inform as much people as possible about this proposition. And I've spoken to some people who, when they read this document, they was totally off the reservation in interpreting what this document means. But I couldn't argue with them. I really couldn't. I couldn't argue with them. Because not one of them who I spoke, not one who I spoke to, have a clue about the Louisiana Constitution. Look, family, look, listen to me carefully. I was invited to speak to a group of college students, university students. I was invited to speak to a group of students in university, one of these universities in New Orleans. And would you believe, listen to me carefully, when I went and I showed these kids this document right here, I showed them this document right here, and I outlined to them what this document was. Now, this is a pocketbook. I have in my hand right here for my listening audience, a pocketbook version of the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution to the United States. Now, listen to what I'm saying carefully now. These are young adults. They're 17, 18, 19-year-old, right? In university. In what? In university. They're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to get this education. It's really indoctrination, not education. It's really indoctrination. They have been indoctrinated. But when I showed them this, and I asked them about these two documents, not one single one inside of there. No, that's not true. I think maybe two of them said they heard about it. Two or three of them said they heard about it. But not one single one, not one single student ever gotten or read a copy of the Declaration of Independence, or ever gotten, saw, or read a copy of the United States Constitution. They went through the high school years not seeing these documents. They heard it mentioned in passing, but not one single student. And I look at that whole entire class, And I said to myself, oh my God. Oh my God. So the very foundation, these kids don't have no foundation. We are raising or we are indoctrinating kids or people, and at the same time, they are ignorant of certain things. How can we have a society? How can we have a society, a civilized society, which is supposed to be based upon law and order, and supposed to be based upon, its premise supposed to come from the Constitution, and we are not teaching the Constitution in schools. They don't have a clue. And it is so reflected in our society here today. It's reflected right here in the territory of New Orleans, Louisiana. When I talk to people, and look, I'm talking about people my age or people even older than me. I'm talking about professional people. When I speak to them about the constitutional amendment that was on the ballot number 6, man, I got so many different variations of what they thought it would be. And a lot of them came from the point of view or just believe what these politicians, what this criminal Errol G. Williams had to tell them. Who Errol G. Williams is, for those of you who don't know, he's a criminal that sits, or that not sits, because he's also an imposter. He's a person that occupies or sits in that seat of the Orleans Parish Assessor Office. Calling himself the Guardian Assessor. He's a criminal. That's what he is. Now, how can I go out there and speak to somebody or speak to people about what was on the ballot when they don't have the underlying requirement or knowledge so we can have a dialogue or a conversation? You see? I recognize the trickery, I recognize the deceit, I recognize the lie the very first time I read Proposition number 6. I recognize it. What this criminal imposter, Errol G. Williams, and his crony friend tried to do, and a matter of fact, let me tell you something this, probably. The author of Proposition number 6, that other criminal, J.P. Morrell, is a puppet. He just about tell it to us that he was a puppet, because he couldn't explain to us when we asked him about it. He couldn't explain to us the reason why he drafted it, the reason why he think it was necessary. He couldn't. He couldn't, or he failed to. We were told by many different authority. Look, in the territory of Louisiana, we have 64 parishes. We have 64 parishes here in Louisiana. And we were told by every other assessor and sheriffs in other different territories, they say, look, New Orleans, they say, Mr. Brown, it better you go and talk to Mr. Williams, because he was the one who was pushing it. He was the one, and it was his legislative partner from New Orleans who authored the bill, J.P. Morrell. They told us. And they also told us that he utilized the B&B component, or the B&B argument, to push that. Errol Criminal G. Williams utilized the B&B argument to push the fact that they needed this proposition on the ballot. But this is what I'm saying, family, in a nutshell. I wasn't, like I tell many other people, and look, I wasn't budge or fudge either way. I wasn't budge and fudge. A matter of fact, the truth about it, I'm even glad that it passed too. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm glad because that's just further evidence for me to prove to people down the line that, because I guarantee you at some point in time, he is going to, look, criminals can't help themselves, man. Criminals cannot help themselves. And I can guarantee you, if it's not done already, that he's so giddy-headed right now. He's so giddy-headed. He's so happy right now. Feels so big in himself. He's going to be pointing to this proposition to let it seem as if he have any right or authority to put that piece of property, your home, your casa, your crib, onto his avalarium tax roll. Him don't. Look, my brothers and sisters, this is an issue that we're going to be keep on expounding on for a very long time. We won't sit by the wayside and have this. Look, Harold G. Williams, and that's why I tell people, man, I'm from a different, maybe I'm from Mars. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm from Mars or from Jupiter or somewhere else. Maybe I am somewhere else away from this planet Earth. Because this is what we have here. We have a black man. We have a black BLACK man by the name of Harold G. Williams, who is also a Democrat. So here's this black man who is also a Democrat, who is reigning tyranny on the people of New Orleans, which, for the most part, it's a dominantly black territory. Who the hell can come talk to Anthony Brown and tell me about goddamn white supremacy? I don't want your crap. Tell me about white supremacy. Why the hell do I care about white supremacy? Why the hell do I care if Donald Trump is a racist? Why the hell do I care? Huh? So should I be what? What difference does it make what clothes or uniform have gun to your head? When somebody have a gun to your head and say, give me all your money. When somebody have a gun to your head, what difference does it make if he's in a uniform or he's in civilian clothes? There's a goddamn gun to your head, and if that trigger is squeezed, bye-bye, amigo. Family and friends, loved ones, enemy and critics. Look, it's all love. It's all love. You know your brother love you. And because I love you, I must speak the truth. And for those of you who say I'm passionate, I don't know about being passionate. That's just me. That's just the way how I express myself, and how I will continue to express myself. I don't like politicians. I don't. I despise politicians. I despise them. And again, a politician is someone who will tell you what you need to hear, will come to you and speak politically correct, just so you can elevate them to public office. Then, once I go to public office, they turn around and bite you in the ass, or they turn around and show the true colors. I hate them. I despise them. And here in the territory of New Orleans, Louisiana, politician, the mayor, politician, the city council, politician, the assessor, politician, the governor, politician, member of the judicial branch, from the Supreme Court, come all the way down. Politician, legislative branch. This is your brother, Anthony Brown, saying, until next time, peace, much love.